Hey, welcome to Planet Hex. I'm Andrew Horn. I'm the author of VHS Ate My Brain, VHS Ate My Brain 2, The Revenge, and a bunch of other stuff that talks about retro things. I love my retro stuff. I love a bit of nostalgia. On Friday, this past Friday, the 27th of September, I had a huge nostalgia bomb. As you can see here, I attended the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie screening at the Salt Box here in Nottingham, which is a really cool place I've never actually been to before. I stood outside it, I've sheltered outside it from the rain, and next to the arena where MCon is. You see my MCon videos if you're a long-time viewer of the channel. But I've never been in before. I didn't realise they did really cool events, and I'm so glad that my old housemate Chris showed me this one. So it was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1990 big screen version, a screening of that, plus a live in-person interview and Q&A with director Steve Barron, who also did a load of music videos, such as a-ha's Take On Me, Dire Straits' Money for Nothing. He did Billie Jean with Michael Jackson. He's worked with David Bowie, all kinds of people. He even did Don't You Want Me by the Human League, my hometown band from where I'm from in Sheffield. So that was so cool to see him there. This was a really good event. And for the ticket price, it was like 15 quid to get in, and that is absolutely amazing for what I got there with the movie screening, the Q&A. Got to hang out with Steve for a bit, saw friends, and it was just brilliant. Had some food there, had some beers. It was a great time, and I hugely recommend anyone in the area check out the Saltbox event. Saltbox Nottingham, they have got a load of stuff going on, cool screenings and Q&As, and each screening they do has like intro videos from the cast and crew whenever they can find them, or interviews with cast and crew. Those are mostly from over Zoom from what I can see, but this one was in person with Steve, and it was so very cool. So I went along to this event with my housemate. He's my old housemate. I've known him for like 24 years-ish? 22 years, 23, something like that. His name's Chris, and he's awesome. As you can see there, we are Ernie and Bert. That is how my wife describes us. And it pretty well, it fits our dynamic. But yes, we've known each other for many years. Great friends, and it was so cool to go and nerd out with him. Chris is a potentially larger nerd than I am, so well done, dude. That's quite an achievement. So we went along to the Salt Box. That's just stood outside the place there before it opened. The place looked great inside. It looked great. It was set out with seating, really cool stage, nice size screen, really cool atmosphere. It filled up like you wouldn't believe. This is when it just opened. We went and got our seats. It really filled up. It was a great atmosphere in there, full of people that were dressed like me. Really, there were lots of caps, t-shirts with slogans on, that sort of thing. You know the vibe. And judging by the number of things that were shared online about it, it was all YouTubers and content creators that were there. Yeah, I think there's a certain dynamic in that audience. So there were some intro videos. This photo is from the Boo the Bad Guy page. Boo the Bad Guy is the guys that put this on. So it's under the name Boo the Bad Guy, and this is from their Facebook page. So you've got Joseph D'Onofrio, Michael McConaughey, I can't say that, Joshua Lozoff, Jeff Tildum, Kevin Eastman, co-creator of Ninja Turtles, Josh Pays, and Steve Barron himself there in person. And my favourite one there was Judith Hogue as April O'Neil. It was a really sweet video shot in an airport. She recorded it in an airport, and I loved it that she had on a yellow jacket. It was very April. And of course, seeing Kevin Eastman send a message, that's so cool. So yeah, there's Judith Hogue doing the video at the intro, and it was just the best time. Everyone had lots of nice things to say about Steve, and understandably so. He was just a very cool guy. And he came out to huge applause and Steve on the stage there, and it was just the best time. In fact, here's some of Steve's intro.
I mean, 35 years ago, we somehow got this film together. It's kind of a bit of a miracle in a lot of ways, because the studios didn't want it, they wouldn't touch it, wouldn't go near it, they wouldn't give us the title most of the time. And we got lucky. We got, just as we were in pre-production, we were about to collapse, we got New Line, a tiny little independent studio, to come in for $2 million. And they paid $2 million out of $7 million budget, and they weren't entirely independent anymore, because the film made that within 9 months, 134 million. And they became a big studio. So it was an amazing time, and we'll talk about it after. We're going to do a Q&A after, so I'll get you to watch the film again. Thank you for all your support, and Will for his support on putting this all together. It's really mind-blowing in a lot of ways. So let's talk after, and feel free to shout at any lines you can remember, any bits, just go ahead, and I hope you enjoy it again. Cheers, Steve.
So after that, of course, they screened the movie. I can't put the movie on here, of course, because I want this video to stay up, you know. So there was the entire movie was screened, and we were encouraged to whoop, and cheer and scream and stuff like that. And we laughed at the jokes, and there was some cheering going on, and it was just a really good thing. Being able to revisit that movie was great. A really fun experience. I will tell you, my first exposure to the Ninja Turtles movie, the first time I saw it. So, sorry Steve, I saw it on a bootleg copy. I was on holiday in Spain with my dad, and the first time I saw that movie, we saw a crowd around a little bar. And we looked at what was going on, and they were watching the Ninja Turtles movie, and it had just started. They were watching it on a little CRT TV on a VHS copy that had been shot from the cinema. It had been filmed in the cinema, and it was filmed in America because it was the American cut. It was the original cut, not the cut that came out of theatres in the UK. There were some cuts here and there, but it was really funny to see it like that. We all stood in the street in Spain. There's me at about 12 going, "Oh my god, this is incredible, they got it before it came out." So that was my first exposure to it, but I did see it at the cinema, on video. I've had it on DVD. I've seen it many times since then, and it's great because it's not like your average blockbuster. It's not like a big event movie in terms of scale. There's no like huge battles or anything like that. There are, there's fight scenes and things like that, but it has the spirit of a much smaller film, and it makes it really, really grounded. And I loved that. I loved the grounded feel of it, which I think was missing from the Michael Bay produced movies because they were so covered in the CGI gloss that it lost sort of the grimy action focus of the original Turtles from the comics, less so in the animated series, but definitely in the comics. This felt like more Eastman and Laird, this movie anyway. Of course, that changed with the sequel, Secrets of the Ooze and Turtles in Time. They got a bit more kid-friendly, but this one just has a more serious action movie feel. So after the movie, he came down with the dude from the bad guy. Really sorry I've forgotten your name, dude. I must lock that up. So I'm going to come to more of these events for a Q&A session. So he had an interview, and then he threw it open to the audience to ask questions as well, and it was just the best. Here's some of that Q&A now.
It was primarily, I've done a few music videos. I made a movie that really didn't do very well called Electric Dreams, and that was back in 83, 84. And I came back to music videos, made a couple of videos that I was really proud of in 85, 86. And then along came, there was a writer called Anthony Minghella. Do you remember him? He was a really brilliant writer, became a great director, won loads of Oscars for English Patient in particular. Did the other film with Jude Law, I've forgotten, Cold Mountain, yeah. He became a very good friend. He was a great friend, and he got involved in a book he'd written that Golden Harvest were interested in possibly doing as a film. It never happened. It was a play he wrote. And while he was there, he saw on the desk this comic book the early comic books that came from the colleges in Massachusetts and stuff. They were doing quite well in the college community, but not known in the world. But they started talking about making toys, and so Golden Harvest wanted to perhaps do a film. They didn't know quite what it would be. Would it be animation or just a very low budget Hong Kong foam film? I think they called it. And I just started with Anthony Minghella. I made the Storyteller with Jim Henson's Creatures. And, that was an amazing experience of watching how they put these characters together, how they puppeteer them, but how they design them and put them together. I thought when this came along, I looked at this comic book and it was crazy. Like everyone's first reaction to it until you really heard about it was, that sounds like a trauma film, which is like, what was some of the titles there? I'm sure you remember. Something tomatoes from space, stuff like that. It sounded like one of those, so they put it, everyone immediately put it in that sort of category of, you can't make it, it's going to make it from nothing. You know? And but I was kind of, in videos and things, I was always trying to do things that were unique in some way, and I've been offered a few other films that were kind of pretty boring and straightforward, and I'd seen the film before. Suddenly this landed on my desk, and I just thought, I've never seen this, no one's ever seen this. This would be something that no one else has ever seen, and I want to be part of that, kind of help create that. So I was very much drawn to it, and wanted to do it. And then we had it's a long story, but we had a real struggle trying to raise the money. As I said before, the studios were just not interested, and we couldn't get a budget below $7 million. I convinced Jim Henson to do it, and Jim had become a good friend, and he trusted me because he wasn't, nunchucks and weapons were not on his patch at all. Obviously it was Fraggle Rock and Muppets, and it was doing something elaborate, but there was no so-called violence in it, so he was like nervous about putting his name to it and about doing the design initially, but we had long chats, and I just said, look, I swear to you, the tone of it will be so charming and sweet that you won't think of it as a horribly violent kids film. And I said, but I do want to make it dark, and I do want it to feel like I want to believe it, and I want to believe it because I want to believe that they lived and came from and grew up in darkness, in the cellars, in the sewers. And so that was all what kind of spoke to the mood of it. And obviously there was quite a lot of criticism about that, but I think it's kind of, the years have gone by, and I still wouldn't change that in any way. So so I ended up there. We didn't, we nearly a few times collapsed as a production. We ended up shooting it in 7 weeks for $7 million. That was the truth. Cost of it. And I didn't even get the whole script. There was like at least 10 or 12 pages of good opening. I feel a much better opening than that led into the crime wave that was going on in New York. But we never got to do it, and in the end, it probably didn't matter, to be honest.
So you're talking about the.
So after everything was done, after the Q&A was done, after the interview and everything was over, the screen popped up while Steve came down. There was a photo shoot with the whole crowd there. I'm looking forward to seeing the crowd shots. Me and Chris are down at the front with Steve. There was milling around with him. We could chat with him and get photos taken, get stuff signed, and it was just a really nice atmosphere. Really good time was had by all. But these next events, Saturday, October 5th, it's Drop Dead Fred and Drop Dead Gorgeous on back-to-back, and Saturday, October 19th is Blair Witch Project and Idle Hands double bill. Both events include a pre-recorded Zoom interview between Boo the Bad Guy and the director of each film. So that was, what a great idea. What a great setting for something like this. I'm definitely going to be coming back to this. Really, really impressive setup. Really, really impressive idea. Absolutely loved it. I will not be at the Drop Dead Fred and Drop Dead Gorgeous one though, because I will be in Alfreton at Tape Stock 2 at the 80s Video Shop. I'll put a flyer up for the end of that at the end of this video. Do come along. That's on Saturday the 5th of October. Of course, if you're not at the Salt Box watching Drop Dead Fred and Drop Dead Gorgeous, what a great double bill. So this was a great fun thing to do. I'm hugely into this idea, and I'm definitely going as many times as I can. If you check out the Salt Box in Nottingham on their website, there's a load of events on there. It's a crazy venue. It's like music, and there's events like art events, and there's movie nights and all kinds of stuff going on there. I'll definitely be joining again there, so that was really cool. But for some of you coming over to Alfreton, on 5th of October. I will see you there. I will have copies of VHS Ain't My Brain and VHS Ain't My Brain 2, The Revenge, available there on my table, and it'd be so cool to see any of you there. But for now, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video to any like-minded nerds. That would be awesome of you. I'm Andrew Horn. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Planet Hex.